Agents ask me all the time, should I sell in multiple states, particularly newer agents that are just getting started within their first 12 months of being agents? And my advice might differ from some advice you hear other places. Now, I do see a nuance in this. It depends on your situation a little bit, but I think for the vast majority of agents, the answer is you should sell in your home state only, and I'm going to break down in this video why. My name is Christian Brindle. I run an FMO called Everything Senior Insurance that also operates as a local internal agency made up of thousands of clients. We also own a lead company called Lead Heroes, a hiring company called Hire Heroes that staffs virtual assistants. We run a CRM called Seven Figure CRM. We also run an event called Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit. So we do a bunch of things in the agent space, in the Medicare space, and the senior insurance space. And in this video, I'm going to talk from a point of perspective because I am somebody that our organization is licensed in 46 states. Me as the principal, I'm licensed in 46 states. Our agency, of course, is a national agency with clients all over the country. And what I found over the years is a lot of agents hear that. They hear bigger agencies talking about how they're licensed all over the place. They look at a business model that might be suited to being licensed all over the place, like a national call center or somebody that's doing content creation on YouTube and trying to sell Medicare supplements all over the place. And they're like, okay, I need to be licensed in all 50 states. I actually recently saw an agent who was within their first 6 months in the business. They had 50 clients or less, and they took it upon themselves to take out debt in order to get licensed in over 40 states themselves because they thought it would give them an advantage. There'd be that many more people for them to write. Here's what I'm going to tell you in this video. For the vast majority of you, you are so much better off just sticking to your home state. Because for most agents, the best way to come into the business is to be a Medicare specialist if you're doing Medicare, at least at the beginning. You don't want to do ACA at the beginning, in my opinion. You don't want to do final expense at the beginning, in my opinion. You don't want to be doing financial planning at the beginning, in my opinion, if you're coming in to sell Medicare as your core main product like we have. The reason for this is because Medicare is a difficult product line to learn, and it just makes it too much of an uphill battle for the majority of people to try to learn all of those things all at once. Get one thing down really well, and then add to it as you go. That's typically the philosophy that we've seen many successful agents utilize over the years, and it's what we use with our own agents internally, and it's a tried and true principle. But when you're dealing with Medicare products, typically you're going to be, like I said, a Medicare specialist. You're selling Medicare Advantage, you're selling Medicare Supplement. It is just not a realistic trend these days to only sell Medicare Supplement. Even the most staunch Medicare Supplement purists that demonize Medicare Advantage for many years now sell Medicare Advantage in their business. Why? Because they have to. It's either that or don't survive what's coming in the next 5 to 10 years as Medicare Advantage market share continues to increase. You can't sell Medicare going forward, going into 2026 and beyond, without offering Medicare Advantage plans. And you might be able to get away with selling in 10, 15 states, and it'd be relatively easy if you're just selling Medicare Supplement because the product lines for the most part are the same, right? The plans are standardized. A G is a G, an F is an F, an N is an N, and the underwriting is relatively the same for most carriers across state lines. It's an easy thing to understand. But when you're selling Medicare Advantage, the plans differ wildly from one area to another. This is why I recommend for most agents, stick in your home state, assuming that you're in most states, right? Most states are going to have plenty of people in their backyards for you to be able to go in and write business. Not only can you write business, but then there's plenty of people there, but you have just such a sizable advantage if you become a master at your home state. My friend Becky Reel says oftentimes be the hero in your backyard or be the rock star in your backyard, or I can't remember exactly how she phrases it, but that is a tried and true lesson that's more duplicatable for the average agent. Reason being is because Medicare Advantage plans are built up of a whole slew of different elements of their plans. There's not just the benefits you see on paper, the copays, the max out-of-pockets, all of that stuff, but there's also the prescription plan, the ancillary benefits, and more importantly than anything that differs from state to state, the networks. The provider networks, which companies have the bigger networks, which companies have the smaller networks. And when you look at some of these national carriers, you might be looking at a situation where one state over here has a huge provider network and they dominate in that area. And then a couple states over, that same carrier might have another version of that same plan and their network is poor. And they don't have contracts negotiations worked out with the larger hospital systems that make them prominent in that market, that could make them prominent, I should say, in that market. And it's just impossible to really be an expert at multiple markets all of the time. You're fighting such an uphill battle when you try to do that. It is so much easier not only to write business, but to beat out other agents you might be going up against, call centers, national organizations, and then also retain that business when you are working in your backyard. It's why to this day, we're licensed in 46 states. We might have clients all over the place, but we focus our internal marketing efforts on our home base state here in Utah because we know the state better than anybody. We're going to have a sizable advantage going up against anybody, and we'll have a better retention rate against anybody when we're dealing with our home state in Utah. We've done the metrics over the years. Our lifetime value of our clients are greater and longer when we're dealing with clients in Utah versus other states. Our cost per acquisition is actually even better in Utah versus some other states because we know the market here so much better, right? We're not having to fumble over ourselves, research ourselves. We know it like the back of our hands. Now, it doesn't mean we won't take business in other states. We work with a lot of agents that work with our FMO in other states. But when it comes to writing business ourselves, there's no market we know quite like home. And so that's why we focus on, and that's why I encourage other agents to focus on their home state. Getting licensed in other states is expensive. It's time consuming. There's a whole lot of things you need to know from one state to another. And not all states work exactly the same way. For one, you have to keep up on renewing your state licenses. It gets expensive. For us, we spend around $15,000 a year on our licenses across being licensed in 46 states. That's for the agency, that's for myself, and that's for several of our internal agents that are licensed in other states as well. But it's a huge amount of money that a new agent just doesn't have to cough up for something like that. Now, like I said, there's nuance to this. Maybe you're in a state that has an extremely dense population. Maybe you're in Wyoming. Maybe you're in Idaho and there's a very small amount of non-commissionable plans for 2026, right? We see the nuance in this. I think in a situation like that, it might make sense to pick up a couple surrounding states. But for the vast majority of you, if you would just simplify things, focus on your home state and being the rock star in your home state, you might find that your business grows faster, more efficiently, and it costs less money. And you might also find that is a far less of an uphill battle for you to grow your business by doing that. Now, for us, we actually were licensed just in Utah for our first 5 years of being in business. How about that? We're in year 12 now. So over the next 7 years, from year 5 to where we are right now, we found ourselves taking on 45 additional states. But in the first 5 years, we just focused on our home base. And that's what I encourage most new agents to focus on. Again, there's nuance, but for most of you, that is going to simplify your life, and it's going to be the way to go. I'd like to get your feedback, though. If you agree with me or you disagree with me, let's have a friendly dialogue about it. Comment on this video what you think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Should agents focus on their home state in most situations, or should they get licensed in 15, 20 states, 25 states? The argument to be had there is if you're running online ads, Facebook ads, digital ads, you can target a wider demographic and your cost per leads might be lower. Your marketing might be more effective. And while that might be true, it just makes it tougher not only to sell the business when you're dealing with a bunch of states, but also retaining that business long term if you're a full service agency like we are. So again, let's have a dialogue about it. Make sure to like this video as well. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's going to help so many more agents just like you who might be struggling with this exact question right now understand the guidance that they might need to have. Make sure to subscribe. We put out weekly videos to help you grow your business. And until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. And here's to your massive success. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.